All right, today we're jumping into one of the most brilliant and honestly one of the most unsettling inventions in all of literature. We're talking about H.G. Wells' classic, The Time Machine. We're going to follow his incredible and frankly terrifying journey into the far, far future.
So everything kicks off at this dinner party. Our hero, who we only know as the time traveler, basically tells his very skeptical friends, hey, you know everything you think you know about how reality works? Well, it's wrong. He's about to challenge some really big, fundamental ideas.
You see, he's not just talking about some clever new gadget. He's proposing a whole new way of looking at the universe itself. He's talking about breaking through the walls of the present and stepping into a new dimension.
So what does that even mean? Well, his argument is actually pretty elegant. He says anything that's real has to have length, width, and height, right? But it also has to exist over a period of time. He calls that fourth dimension duration. For him, time is just another direction, another form of space. The only catch is we're all stuck moving along it in one direction. But what if we could break free? What if we could build something to navigate it?
And just to prove he's not all talk, he reveals his creation, the machine. It's this beautiful, intricate thing, a glittering mix of metal and crystal, designed for one purpose, to travel through time itself.
So he pulls the lever and, whoosh, the world outside becomes this dizzying blur of days and nights. When he finally stops, the dials on his machine point to the year 802,701. He steps out, and it looks like he's landed in paradise, a literal Garden of Eden.
The first beings he meets are the Eloi, and at first glance they seem perfect. They're beautiful, gentle, living these carefree lives in a world with no work and no worries. But something's off. They have this childlike lack of curiosity. They're not just gentle, they're weak, incredibly fragile.
So the traveler's first big theory is that humanity, well, we won. We beat disease, we solved every problem, we conquered nature completely. But that total comfort, that perfect safety, it came with a price. Without any struggles or challenges, our strength and our intelligence just faded away, leaving this delicate, beautiful, but ultimately feeble species. But you know that feeling when something's just not right? That perfect, happy surface starts to show some cracks, and it becomes pretty clear that this paradise is hiding a very, very dark secret.
And then absolute terror hits him on a personal level. He goes back to get his machine, and it's gone, vanished. He sees tracks leading to this big sealed pedestal of a white Sphinx statue. His only way home, his escape route, has been stolen and locked away. And he knows for a fact those tiny, weak Eloi couldn't have moved it. Then he starts noticing this really weird thing about the Eloi. These creatures who live in a perfect world with no apparent dangers are absolutely terrified of the dark. We're talking a deep, paralyzing fear. So the question is, what exactly are they so afraid of?
And the clues just keep piling up. He finds these deep, well-like shafts that lead down into the earth, humming with the sound of machinery from below. He catches a quick glimpse of this pale, ape-like creature running from the dawn, and then, in a dark old building, he sees a pair of glowing eyes watching him. Yeah, paradise is definitely over.
So finally, the traveler fights down his own fear and decides to climb into one of those dark wells. And what he finds, in the pitch-black, suffocating underground, well, it's the horrifying answer to what happened to humanity.
You see, humanity didn't just evolve into the Eloi. It's split. The Eloi are the descendants of the wealthy, the upper class, who now live these pointless lives in the sun. But below ground live the Morlocks, the descendants of the working class, the laborers. They're these grotesque, ape-like creatures who still run the machinery of the world. But here's the twist. They now come up at night to hunt and eat the Eloi. The Eloi are literally their cattle. And this is where the story just hits you like a ton of bricks. The traveler realizes this isn't some random evolutionary fluke. It's the direct result of the class system from his own time, the 19th century. The gap between the rich and the poor just kept widening and widening for thousands of years until they literally became two different species.
After a desperate, brutal fight to get his machine back from the Morlocks, the traveler finally escapes. Now, you'd think he'd just go home, right? Nope. He pushes the lever forward. He wants to see how it all ends.
And I mean, the scale of this final trip is just mind-boggling. He doesn't skip ahead a few centuries. He jumps 30 million years into the future.
He arrives to a silent, dying world. The sun is this huge, dull red ball that never moves in the sky. The earth has stopped spinning. The only things left alive are these giant, monstrous crab creatures on a blood-red beach, and a single, black, tentacled thing flopping in the shallows. This is it, the end of all life on Earth.
Completely shaken, the traveler finally returns to his own time, to his dinner party. His friends can hardly believe him. He looks wild, exhausted, and his story is insane. The only proof he has are 2 little dried flowers in his pocket, a gift from an Eloi friend named Weena. They're this tiny, fragile symbol that kindness existed, even in that dark future.
But the story doesn't quite end there. The next day, he tells his friend he's just going to pop into the future for a half hour to grab some real, undeniable proof. He gets on his machine and disappears, and he is never ever seen again. So we're left with this huge, haunting question. Where did he go? Did he find his proof? Or did he finally get lost for good somewhere in the endless ocean of time? We'll never know.